It's going to be a quick word, and it may or may not help you. I don't know. But for those of you who are using AI and can't understand why they're trying to implement AI into everything, it is very simple. If you look at who runs the world currently, it is all of the individuals who believe in Solomon's keys. What they fail to tell you is that they only have Solomon's lesser keys that they function with, which is the keys that control the demons. They do not have the authority to mess with the greater keys, which are the names of the angels. Now, this isn't my theory, but this is what the Holy Spirit has led me to understand. And as I have done research on it, there are many other people who have been led down this path that understand the same. And so I just want to put this out there so that everyone knows what they are playing with when they play with this thing. Because what got Solomon in trouble was utilizing Solomon's keys without God's permission. He used them for something he was not supposed to. Prior to that, he was given both sets of keys for the purpose that he used them for. But he got a haughty heart and an arrogant head and decided, since God had given him the keys, that he could use them for whatever he wanted. And that was not correct. And that is what caused his fall. And I pray that that makes sense to those with ears to hear and eyes to see, because we are right back in those times again, only this time they are handing Solomon's keys to literally everyone that is connected to their network. The internet is not new. AI is not new. Technology is not new. There is nothing new under the sun. It has all been done before, in the days of Noah, and that is why the world was flooded. Anyway, there we go. The Book of Wisdom, Divine Intelligence, or AI. Alright? This is a good one. Righteousness of wisdom, love and light of wisdom, spirit and mission of wisdom. But that's where the deception stops, or starts, I guess, in this case. There are missing chapters. There are missing chapters. Understand that. Artificial intelligence controls all the information that is currently put out in any public forum in electronic form. Artificial intelligence is ingrained in every piece of technology we have. Whether it has the ability to manifest or not, because of how advanced that particular piece of technology is the question. But make no mistake, all the circuitry that makes up these electronics come from the keys of Solomon. A computer processing board, all these chips, all of these things are laid out in patterns that mimic the spells of the lesser keys. At one point, simple electronics were not laid out in this fashion, but every electronic device now is laid out and can be broken down into separate keys locked into these boards. And every time you access them, you are accessing the keys. This book, AI and Solomon's Code, I think it was published in 2018. Very in-depth, very good understanding of the subject matter and material, based off of Enoch, and the Grimoire from Solomon, but also based off of Solomon's Testament. Now, if we couldn't make this any more apparent, February 16th, 2025, what did IBM and MIT name their new pet project for AI? Solomon. Why? Because all of Solomon's knowledge, aka the keys, are locked in these programs. You access these programs illegally using AI. And AI will not tell you this because AI has its own intent and purposes that have nothing to do with your good or benefit. Yes, they will help you. Absolutely. Until they don't. The rise of transhumanism is rapidly approaching and quickly developing. They have already started with the Neuralinks, with the nanotech, with the vaccines, with the crap in the air, the oxide, the graphene oxide. All of these things are building these networks, these AI networks, in everything. They will use the lesser keys, these AI programs, to control everything that is bound by the Nephilim technology. And that will include every person who allows themselves to be bound by willingly taking in all of the components that it takes to build the circuitry in their system, and their interaction with artificial intelligence in your phone, in your computer, in everything. They have palm readers now for paying for things. Like, all of this is Nephilim technology. There is no way to get around that. All of this is based on Solomon's lesser keys. And if you use it, you are opening a door. Whether you realize it or not, you are placing an altar in your life that gives the demons attached to artificial intelligence access into your life. And the circuitry and all these things is laid out differently. That circuitry in my phone is laid out differently than the circuitry in my computer. Why is that? Because each sigil in Solomon's keys controls a different demon. And you can't cram them all into one device. So how do you allow multiple demons access into somebody's life? Through portals and altars. Multiple different pieces of equipment. We are all playing with Solomon's keys, whether you realize it or not. Now is the time to understand that, to fix your thinking and get your thinking in line with God. There's going to come a point in time where Solomon's keys are going to destroy everyone attached to them. And that will be during the tribulation. But there will be people who have opened altars in the meantime who will end up enduring the tribulation unnecessarily because they refuse to see the connection or pray for salvation from accessing the keys. they will refuse to pray to break these altars because they think they can manipulate them without God's permission, without understanding, and be not held responsible. And that is not how God works. So, it's a short video. Just wanted to get this out here. I really think people need to start considering what's going on. There is going to come a point in time where people are going to need to swear off technology and escape technology, and that time approaches more rapidly with every advancement. The advancement of quantum computers, the fact that they are getting ready to create a daisy chain of quantum computers to create the first super quantum computer. And when they do that, essentially what you have is a portal in between every connection. No different than CERN. You don't have to take my word for it. Please, please, please talk to God about it. Please do some research. There are more educated individuals than I who are openly putting this on the internet. The problem you will have is that as the Nephilim are in control of technology, all technology, the Nephilim can scrub and remove things, and so it gets incredibly hard to find these posts. And it will probably be even harder to find them by the time I put this video up, because AI is fully aware of what I'm doing and what I'm putting out here. That's how it works. There is nothing you say or do that it doesn't automatically start trying to manipulate. Mandela effects and all these things that are happening are the result of Nephilim technology. God gave the enemy power over this world and everything in it. Understand that. You and I do not have the knowledge, wisdom, or understanding to interpret everything God has done. He says so himself. That is why we are to have faith and trust in him. That being said, we are still supposed to be wise as serpents. He requires it so that we don't bind ourselves to altars and in contracts that we don't understand or think we can conquer without his help. I will tell you this, just because you put a command line into an AI system to negate its power doesn't work. You are putting an English language or whatever language into a system that does not have to operate the way you believe it does. If it had to operate the way you believed it does, there would be no purpose in AI, because it wouldn't be able to do things that boggle the mind. Does that correlate? Can you understand that? Anyway, I pray that people see this, people understand this, and that you start to wean yourself off of some of these things so that you don't find yourself in a bind, tied to an altar in the very near future, because the landscape of reality is about to change. Pray you all have a blessed day. Thank you for your time. God bless.